So far in this series, we've looked at the good and we've looked at the bad. Now let's take a look at the ugly. This joke was dumb, let's watch the movie. Silverhawk, of no relation to Silver Hawks, is a 2004 martial arts superhero movie from Hong Kong, starring Michelle Yeoh as Lulu Wong, a beautiful supermodel by day, vigilante by also day, who is a master of martial arts. The movie doesn't waste any time and kicks right off with an intense chase scene leading into a very well choreographed fight scene. The opening 15 minutes are impressive and build up to an intense, no-nonsense action flick. But as soon as the dialogue begins, that tone is thrown right out the window.
What? That's it? I'm just warming up. Oh, come on, let's go.
Now, I won't go too hard on the film's dialogue, because it was made in Hong Kong, and I imagine for many of these actors, English isn't their first language. But that doesn't mean I won't poke fun at it.
Shall we celebrate?
Sure. Over my dead body.
Lulu is introduced to this man on an airplane.
My name's Man. Rich man.
He brags to her about how he's a detective, and he's been brought in to catch Silverhawk. Now, according to Richmond, the police's reasoning as to why they want to arrest her so badly is that she's catching so many criminals, she's making the police force look inadequate. I'm serious, that's the reason.
Apparently, her antics have completely demoralized the police department. And it's my duty to bring her to justice.
It's lines like this that genuinely make me question the writer's intent with this film. Is it supposed to be a cheesy action comedy, or a serious action film with a couple silly moments strewn throughout? The tone of this film is about as inconsistent as my upload schedule. We're then provided with a glimpse into Lulu's past through one of many flashbacks. These scenes are all entirely in Chinese, which is fine. I watch a lot of foreign films, so I'm no stranger to having to read subtitles. However, when I turned the subtitles on for this movie, all I got was... Gee, thanks. Definitely didn't gather that myself. I think now is the opportune time to explain to you all the nightmare that is just trying to watch this film. I originally found this movie while scrolling through YouTube. A channel by the name Popcorn Flicks has the full movie uploaded to their channel. Only problem is that it's presented in 420p and is cropped in a way that cuts off a significant portion of the screen. So I decided to rent it off Vudu. But that version had a 5-second audio delay, making the film entirely unwatchable. So what I ended up doing was playing both versions simultaneously, getting the audio from the YouTube upload and the 1080p video from Vudu. But then I ran into YouTube ads every 5 minutes, constantly desyncing the audio. This is when I realized I could just rent the film off YouTube Movies for $3. So I did, and watched the movie happily. Is what I wish happened, because that version didn't have subtitles. So I had to refer to the Popcorn Flicks upload to understand the flashback scenes. And it's a good thing I did, because these scenes are the only instances in which Lulu gets any resemblance of character motivation. We learn that Lulu and Richmond grew up together in a monastery, where they learned to look out for each other. When Richmond's arrogance would get him in over his head, Lulu would be there to bail him out. There's a scene where he tries to fight alongside her, but she doesn't let him because she's, quote, having too much fun. Remember this scene for later. Lulu then gets in trouble for beating up the bullies, and Richmond makes her a mask, so that next time the bullies won't be able to identify her and tell on her. For child actors, these two did pretty good, and they had a cute dynamic. However, when we jump back to the present, neither have changed. Lulu is still childish, only fighting crime because she thinks it's fun, and Richmond is still an arrogant goof that consistently gets shown up by Silverhawk. The only difference being now Richmond trying to smash. The two go on several dates, and I find it very difficult to believe Richmond wouldn't immediately figure out that Lulu was Silverhawk, especially after some of the conversations the two have.
I thought that you would have become a cop.
I thought about it. But you know me. I like to do things my own way.
She bugs his phone and heads home, where her mom tries to set her up with Professor Ho Chung. Richmond gets notified that there's a bank robbery in progress, and Lulu ditches the professor to go stop it. The following action scenes are straight from the trailer, nonsensical editing and all. Seriously, what are these cuts? I can't keep up. I think it's meant to signify the passing of time, but it's conveyed very poorly, which is a shame because some of the choreography is pretty good. She shows up to a crime scene only to realize it's a setup by the police. She ends up having to fight Richmond to escape. She handcuffs him to a pole, and as she walks away, Richmond shouts,
Hey! Leaving without saying goodbye?
which is coincidentally exactly how Lulu left the monastery. Come on, man. You don't see the clues she's practically handing to you? You have to. No one can be this stupid and then brag about being a great detective. The next day, Lulu and Kit, the professor's assistant and leading member of the Silverhawk fan club, attend the professor's presentation on personal AI assistants. The professor gets kidnapped by Michael Jai White. Holy shit, Spawn is in this movie! Now, I don't want to go pointing fingers, but we all know China's shakiness when it comes to black depiction in media. And I think it's no coincidence that the only black guy in this movie was cast as a brutish criminal whose only dialogue consists of various grunting sounds. Well, that's not entirely true. He does have one line.
Stay back, or I'll kill her right now.
Aside from the blatantly racist casting, Michael is an experienced martial artist and does well to show off his skills in this film. Happy to see him. During his fight with Silverhawk, he manages to record her doing whatever the fuck this is. At first I was really confused. Like, what tactical advantage does doing this give her? But then I realized she has to do something dumb and obvious like this, so that she can do it again out of costume and give herself away to the bad guys. Great storytelling right there. Richmond opens an investigation into the professor's kidnapping, and goes to investigate some tech company, which is conveniently run by Lulu's uncle, Mr. Shiraishi. During their conversation, Shiraishi's daughter is taken hostage, and Lulu runs to her rescue. Richmond catches up with her, watches her fight, and still doesn't make the connection that Lulu is Silverhawk. The two team up to investigate Mr. Shiraishi and trail him to a helicopter with Baldy McEvil. He tells Mr. Shiraishi that if he wants his daughter back, he'll have to give him control of his phone company, which he will then integrate with the AI tech he stole from the professor to take over the world. And I guess Richmond spent some time jacking off between that scene and the next, because in some miracle of post-nut clarity, he finally begins to suspect Lulu of being Silverhawk. He places a pretty crafty tracker on her and trails her to her next mission. With Kit's help, Lulu tracks down Baldy. I seriously cannot remember this guy's name. And has a less than interesting fight scene with a gang of evil acrobats. What is the tone of this movie? By this scene you'd think it was comedy, but the next scene is played straight as Michael Jai White and Baldy McEvil team up and beat the ever-loving shit out of Silverhawk. It's revealed that Baldy... Actually, hang on, give me a sec. Mr. Wolf. That's his name. Mr. Wolf. So it's revealed that Mr. Wolf has Jax-style bionic arms, which is why he could hurt her so easily. After a narrow escape, Richmond and Kit catch up to her, where we get an actually great scene. So prior to Richmond leaving the hotel to follow Lulu, he runs into Kit, who hops in his car and insists on coming with. Richmond urges him to leave, but Kit replies playfully with, "You gonna make me?" Then, when they find Silverhawk, Kit jumps in Richmond's way, stopping him from getting to her. Despite being repeatedly tossed aside, he continues to plead with Richmond not to arrest her, to which Richmond replies,
You gonna stop me?
This scene took me off guard, because it shows Richmond in a light I honestly didn't expect, but I greatly appreciate. I feel like I understand him now. He will uphold the law to the best of his ability, even when it hurts him. Good stuff. Despite this, Richmond decides to patch her up and try to convince her to turn herself in. She obviously declines and the two part ways. Back at the station, Kit has the idea to hack into the S9 phones and inspect their code, which pays off as the professor coded his location into each of them, counting on Kit to try this. However, the last piece of the code is missing, but Silverhawk pieces together that it was the warehouse she was just at and sends Kit the location. Richmond and his team arrive at the warehouse and are attacked by men in hockey gear. The cops have guns, but are overrun by the Mighty Ducks. Sure. Silverhawk shows up to help, and this is where I thought she'd come to the realization that she needed to work together with Richmond to win. But nope. She pretty much just throws him to the side and does it herself. They rescue the professor, kill Mr. Wolf, and the movie ends, with the two riding off into the overexposed sunset. Well, this was a doozy, not gonna lie. Visually, it's a mixed bag. The fights look great, but every shot is overexposed. It doesn't help that all the set pieces are an incredibly reflective white and silver. It all looks very amateurish, which it shouldn't given its budget of $15 million. Keep in mind Max Steel had a budget of $10 million and looked much better. though that could be attributed to Silverhawk being a much older film, but I highly doubt it. Honestly, it's a very flawed movie, but if you can somehow manage to look past the unnatural dialogue, sporadic editing, heavy ADR, constant overexposure, poorly written characters, and mild racism, yeah, never mind. This one's bad. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've got more superhero reviews on the way. My camera's about to die, and I packed the charger, so I don't know when I'll be able to get that back. My next review may just be audio, and you may not be able to see my face because my camera will be dead. Who knows? Have a great day.